Flushing and draining your water heater. What does it do? Well, flushing your water heater will remove sediment that builds up inside of the tank. Regardless of what measures are taken to help prevent sediment from building up in your tank, if you've got an area that has hard water, you're going to have some buildup in there. And although the water heater does stir the water at the bottom of the tank to help stir that stuff up and mix it up, it'll still settle in the bottom. So we're going to flush it. We'll do a drain on the water heater and we'll get that sediment out of there. Now, how often should we do that? Typically, once per year. If you've got an area that has extremely hard water, I might suggest doing it 2 times per year, or in extreme cases, once every quarter. It all depends on how bad the water is and what kind of results you're getting when you flush your water heater. So, let's start today with flushing this water heater, and I'll show you the steps to properly do this. One of the most important steps when you're flushing a water heater, whether it be gas or electric, this particular model happens to be a hybrid electric, is to go ahead and shut the power off to it. You don't want the water heater actively heating the water while you're draining and flushing it. It can cause problems. If it's electric, you can potentially damage components. Certainly don't want a full burner on a gas assembly burning while you're draining it or while the water heater is empty even. Definitely don't want power applied to an electric heater while the tank is empty. That's not good. So go ahead and disconnect power to your water heater to start. Now, this one has an on and off button. Now, is that good enough? No. You want to unplug this unit, completely disconnect it from power. You can do that by actually unplugging it if it has a plug, removing the quick disconnect, or shutting off the breaker. Now, because of the way this water heater is set up, I'm going to shut the breaker off. Okay, now that the power is disconnected, I can see that there are no LED lights lit on this particular model. On a different type of electric water heater that does not have an LED light indicator, it's a good idea to get a multimeter out and just double check to make sure you don't have any power. Safety first. We're going to start down here at the bottom of the heater where the drain valve is. I like to put some paper towels down here because a lot of the water heaters will come with the leak guard and the leak sense. If any water drips on the floor, it's likely to pick that up, shut the water off, and throw a code. We don't want that. So we'll put some paper towels down just in case that hose connection drips a little bit. Once we're ready, we're going to go ahead and grab a hose. And as you can see there, it's already dripping on the floor. Go ahead and connect your hose. That nice and tight. And then the next step may or may not be shutting off the water. Here's why I say may or may not be. We're in an area here with hard water. It's likely water heaters in this area will have sediment built up inside of the tank. If that's the case, it could create a blockage on this valve. So if I hook up my hose and I turn my water on while this is under pressure, if there's anything blocking there, the pressure will blow it out, push it down through the hose. Now, let's talk about where we want the end of our hose to be. You want to take the end of your hose and put it outside somewhere safe, in the driveway or in the street, somewhere where it's not going to blow hot water all over anybody, and nor will it blow hot water into plants or a garden or grass. That hot water will kill whatever it drains onto. So be careful where you put the end of that hose. Now, one other quick tip before we do start flushing this water heater is if your water heater is in a position or a location and the only feasible place to drain it is into a shower or a bathtub, keep in mind that the water is going to come out of that hose quickly, a large amount of water, gallons per minute. It is easy to outflow the drain in the shower and the bathtub. So if you're draining into a shower or a bathtub, somebody needs to keep an eye on it so that it does not fill up and potentially overflow. It is extremely easy to do that. I've seen it personally, so keep that in mind. Now, we've got our hose connected. Our power is off. Hose is out in the driveway. Pressure is on. We're going to take a flathead screwdriver, You can also use a pair of channel locks or a crescent wrench preferably. Turn this a quarter turn. And as you can maybe hear, this is now full of water and it's being pushed outside and we're flushing the water heater. Okay, once you have sufficient flow going through your drain valve and out through the end of your hose, you can go ahead and drain the water heater, and I'll show you how to do that. Step one, find and locate, which is the same thing, right? Locate your shutoff valve and go ahead and turn that off. Now, once you shut the water off, the pressure to the tank, you'll notice that the water coming out of the end of the hose pretty much stops completely. What we need to do now is allow air into the tank so that the water can drain out. Two ways of doing that. The way I like to let air into the tank is by popping up this handle on the temperature and pressure relief valve. That will allow air into the tank and the water will simply drain out through the hose. The other alternative is to go to a hot water faucet, preferably a two-handle that you can just isolate the hot and turn that on, and the same thing will happen. Air will be allowed to enter the tank and it will drain out through the hose. Now, once your tank is completely drained, go ahead and shut that back down. If you have a faucet on, go ahead and turn that off. Turn the lower drain valve back to off and disconnect your hose. Now, the next step to getting this thing back into operation is important. We want to fill the tank completely with water. Now, we have our water on, and we've heard the water rush into the tank, and then it stopped. That doesn't mean it's full. It means it's full of water and probably a bunch of air. So let me show you how to properly purge all of the air from your water heater tank. Go to a faucet, turn it to the hot, and turn it on. And just wait. Now, once the air has stopped blowing out of the faucet and you get a solid stream of water, that's an indication that all of the air has been purged from the tank and you can shut your faucet off. Now that our tank is completely full of water, we will restore power to the heater. Okay, now that power is restored, and this is a hybrid water heater, so we're going to have to go ahead and push the on and off button to put this back into operation. And there we go. Now give it about 45 minutes to an hour. You'll have hot water and you'll be good for another year.